Hi, my name is Adam Sings in the Timber. I am a visual journalist, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about my process making short 90 seconds to 2-minute videos for Buffalo's Fire. Typically when I work on a short video like this, my turnaround is a day or two, both shooting and production. So the tool that I use when I do work on these short videos is typically my smartphone. I have found that my iPhone is a great tool for making these short, run and gun productions. You know, it's not a lot, it's not heavy, it doesn't really weigh me down, and for stuff that'll end up just on the web, I think it's great. I don't think you really need a huge camera. With that said, when I work on longer features, I work with a mirrorless camera, like currently right now. This is being filmed on a Fujifilm X-T2 camera. But like I said, for these shorter videos, I have found that my iPhone, plus a few little tools that I'm going to talk about, really get the job done when wanting to tell a great, compelling story. So I'm going to talk about the tools that I use and the accessories that I use to make the short stories. To keep it simple, I'm going to stick to using my iPhone, and recently I shot a video using my iPhone and a few of these other accessories at a prescribed burn with the Amamutsen Land Trust just south of San Francisco. I had, my still camera with me, but for the video, I just used kind of my phone and a gimbal and a mic, and I was able to, what I think, create a compelling story. First and foremost, I currently use an iPhone 12 Pro. It has the 3 lenses, which I find to be very useful in the sort of filmmaking that I like to make. So the accessory that I use the most in addition to my phone is this gimbal right here. This is a DJI Osmo Mobile 2. It's a bit older, but I find it has worked really well for the types of stuff that I used. You can get a brand new one, brand new model for about $150, the DJI Osmo Mobile 4, and the 3 is a little bit cheaper. And if you even wanted to get one of these, you could probably find it for less than $100, like on eBay or some other reputable dealer. I don't have any experience with any other brands. I'm sure there are other great brands out there, and I would encourage you to just maybe do a little bit of research. But for me, this one works really well. It's still pretty small. I can carry it and work with it all day. With a little bit of practice, using a gimbal is really great for capturing B-roll. It's light, it helps eliminate shake, and you can kind of go in and out without having to disturb a lot of people if you're in a close sort of environment. I would suggest, looking on YouTube for some tips and tricks on how to use a gimbal, some creative ideas, and again, I think you should practice a little bit with it if you're going to go that route of using a gimbal when you're working. I find it to be easier than using a tripod, especially with a run and gun kind of thing where you can't always set up your tripod and create stuff. And with this particular one, it's set up to my phone, so there's a record button, and all I have to do is hit record on the gimbal, and it begins recording. And it's just a really great tool for making these sort of journalistic style pieces. Now, if you can't use a gimbal, or if you don't have access to a gimbal, another thing that you could try is a handheld tripod like this. It's made by Manfrotto. It has a locking phone grip, and holding a phone like this, shooting video, eliminates a little bit more shake than if you were just hand holding your phone. So the great thing about this particular tripod is it also has a cold shoe mount for putting on a microphone or a light or anything that you might want to use to help make better videos. If you don't have a tripod, you can also try this. This is made by Olloclip. It's called a pivot. And again, it just holds your phone in there like this. And holding this like this just, again, eliminates some of the shake rather than holding it handheld. So the next accessory that I recommend using is an external microphone. For example, the audio that you're hearing is coming from this Rode Video Micro microphone. It's a small shotgun mic, and it's just much better at capturing audio than the microphone on your smartphone. At least it's better than my smartphone. One of the things though is that you're going to need is a windbreak. If you're going to be outside, it definitely picks up a lot of wind. So you need one of these. It's called just a windsock that you put on the end of your microphone. There's a version of this microphone called the VideoMic Me right here. There are two versions of this, one with a headphone jack and one with a lightning cable, which works really well with iPhones. It goes right in there, it holds onto there, and you can capture audio using this. Again, you'll probably need a windsock just to cut down on the wind that's blowing into the camera. So the reason that I think microphones are important is that really great audio can kind of save a video production that is lacking in visuals. However, with poor audio, I think it can really wreck a good production, no matter how outstanding the visuals are. So one of the downsides to using a gimbal is not being able to use an external microphone. So whenever I am using a gimbal, I'm not focused so much on the audio. I'm more focused on the visuals. But when you're conducting an interview, it's important to get the best sound you can. So whenever I conduct an interview, I typically take the phone off of the gimbal and put it on something like this. And then I add so then I put the microphone on the camera and I get somewhat close, or if I can, then I also take the microphone off and I place it closer to the person that I'm filming, just to get as much of the voice as you can, as clear as possible. So one of the things that I have with me when I'm working on a story is an external battery for my phone. The last thing I want is for my phone to die while I'm working. So every chance I get, I plug my phone in and I charge it so that I know that my phone will last the whole day. So one of the great things about the new iPhones is the multiple lenses that it has. There's an ultra wide lens, there's a wide lens, and there's a telephoto lens. And I typically use all three lenses for different scenarios when I'm shooting throughout the day. So towards the end of my sort of shooting schedule, I think about interviews. The reason that I kind of put it towards the end is, for me at least, is throughout the day I'm shooting video. I'm making all this B-roll, and sometimes, it helps create questions in my head that I saw something today and I want to know more about it. So then I will ask the person that I'm interviewing. I don't put interviews as the last thing that I shoot that day. I just put it towards the end. So that if the interview subject is talking about something that I didn't film, then maybe I have a chance to go and capture some B-roll of that. So after I have sort of captured all the video footage, the interviews, I go and I get about a minute of just sound, like ambient sound, to sort of underlay on the video so that there's no silence with an abrupt silence, like a cutoff of sound, because it's kind of jarring to your ear. So, I'll find something that, like the fire crackling if it's a burn, or just the room noise. Like if I'm quiet for a second and you can kind of just hear a little bit of the background hum of just everyday life. And so I would underlay that underneath my typical interviews, just so that it's not like jarring silence followed by noise again. So the first thing that I do when I start the editing process is to convert the interviews to text, sort of to have a map of what's been said. So what I do is I've imported all of my footage into my computer, and then I work on the interviews and I convert those interviews just to MP3. And I import those MP3 files into software or an app. The one that I use is Otter. I upload it to their website, and after some processing, the website, the software, whatever, it creates sort of a script that I can refer to. And I go through the script and I highlight the sound bites that I think are important, that help really tell the story that I'm trying to tell. And once I've sort of highlighted all those, I go back to Premiere and I start cutting those bits of the interview out on the timeline. And then I kind of construct that in a linear fashion of the story that I think that they're trying to tell me. Once I've created that sort of timeline of audio, I then go back and I start going through the B-roll, and I find visuals that help visualize what they're saying to create the story. And I just kind of go through that whole process for the entirety of the project.
Okay, hi, my name's Natalie Pineda. I'm from Fresno, California. I've been a steward for 5 years. Today we worked on doing fuel reduction, cutting down the Douglas fir, making them to piles, and now we're burning them.
Fire, I mean, it's a living thing, and I think it has its place here in nature. When people think of fire, they think of it's just like destruction, but really it's just like it's purifying everything. It's not all bad. Hey, I'm Christopher Sanchez. I'm from the Amamutsun Land Trust, and today we're burning some fire. We made some burn piles, and right now we're trying to cleanse the land from any invasive species, and we're gonna repopulate it with some other native plants here.
My name's Stephen Pratt. I'm a member of the Amamutsun Land Trust. We see a lot of plants respond well to this. And one plant specifically that was found in the archaeology site here is California lilac. And those seeds germinate from exposure to smoke. And I'm not too sure if it's from heat as well, but it needs fire in order to germinate those seeds. And we don't really see much California lilac here, so burning will open up for one specific species, but also many others. Also, it will help keep down the crowding of invasive plants. It will keep a lot of plants that take over out of the way, so they don't have as much space to take over. So we'll see a lot more of our native grasses come back through that. The native grasses have a better established root system as compared to European grasses, which tend to have somewhat shallow roots. So burning those ones out, it will wean them out, and the California native grasses that are specific to this area we'll see rooted in better and able to bounce back.
So I want to wrap up this how-to video with some of my thoughts on how using a small, simple setup like this helps put people at ease. Sometimes a large camera or large film crew can make people a little nervous, especially native people, who are not always comfortable around journalists, especially photojournalists and video journalists. Using a smartphone for these types of stories is less invasive, and these days people are used to seeing smartphones everywhere they go. Being respectful of people's comfort levels when I'm shooting is a top priority for me. My hope is that it shows that I'm respectful of their boundaries, and I have found using smaller gear helps create that atmosphere of respect. It's very important to me that I am not intimidating. I want people to welcome me into their space so that I can make an honest and truthful story. Well, I hope this video helps get you started making great stories, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.